I was 19 years old when I knocked on the door of the Okafor Mansion in Victoria Island, Lagos. My hands were shaking as I held my school certificate and a letter from my village priest. I had traveled 8 hours from my small town in Enugu State with nothing but hope and the clothes on my back. Mrs. Chioma Okafor opened the door herself. She was tall, elegant, wearing a beautiful Ankara dress that probably cost more than my family made in a year. Behind her was a house so big I couldn't see where it ended. "You must be Grace," she said with a warm smile. "Welcome to our home." I thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. The Okafors needed a house help, and I needed money to pay for my university education. It seemed perfect. What I didn't know was that this family was about to change my life in ways I never expected. The Okafor house was like a palace. 7 bedrooms, 4 sitting rooms, a swimming pool, and a garden bigger than my entire village square. Mr. Emeka Okafor owned 3 hotels in Lagos and 2 in Abuja. He was always traveling, always busy, always making money. They had 2 children. David was 16, quiet and respectful. He would always say, "Thank you," when I served his food. But their daughter Adana was different. She was 14, spoiled, and treated me like I was invisible. "Grace, wash my clothes by hand. The washing machine makes them too soft," she would say, throwing her expensive dresses on my bed. Mrs. Okafor was kind but distant. She would give me extra money during Christmas and ask about my family, but she never questioned why her daughter spoke to me like I was nothing. I told myself it was temporary. I was saving every naira to pay for my accounting degree. One day I would be free. 3 months into working for the Okafors, I was cleaning Mr. Emeka's office when I found a folder marked Confidential. Inside were documents about a new hotel project in Abuja. The papers showed plans for a 200-room luxury hotel that would cost 50 million naira to build. I shouldn't have looked, but I was curious. I had studied business in secondary school, and something about the numbers didn't make sense. The construction costs were too high. The suppliers were charging double the normal price. Someone was stealing money. I put the folder back exactly where I found it, but I couldn't forget what I saw. That night I couldn't sleep. Should I tell Mr. Emeka? Would he believe a house girl? Would he think I was trying to cause trouble? 2 weeks later, I was serving dinner when Mr. Emeka came home angry. His face was red, his tie was loose, and he was shouting into his phone, "How can 10 million naira just disappear? Where is the money?" He sat down heavily at the dining table. Mrs. Okafor tried to calm him, but he pushed his food away. "Someone is stealing from me, Chioma. The Abuja project is failing because money keeps disappearing. If I don't find out who is doing this, we will lose everything." I was standing in the corner, holding a tray of rice, when our eyes met. Something in his expression made me step forward. "Sir," I said quietly, "I may know something about the Abuja project." The whole family turned to look at me. Adana laughed. "What can a house girl know about business?" But Mr. Emeka raised his hand for silence. "Speak, Grace." I told him about the folder, about the inflated prices, about the suppliers who were charging too much. I explained how I had studied the numbers and seen that someone was taking money from every transaction. Mr. Emeka listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. "Show me," he said finally. We went to his office. I pointed out the suspicious invoices, the companies that existed only on paper, the bank transfers that didn't match the construction reports. Mr. Emeka's face grew darker with each document. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Only 3 people have access to these accounts, me, my accountant, and my business partner." His business partner was his younger brother, Uncle Chidi, the same uncle who had been coming to the house every Sunday for family dinner, the same uncle who brought gifts for the children and hugged Mrs. Okafor like a loving brother. "Uncle Chidi has been stealing from you, sir," I said. Mr. Emeka's hands were shaking. "Grace, if you are right about this, you have saved my business. But if you are wrong, I am not wrong, sir. The evidence is here." Mr. Emeka hired a private investigator. Within 1 week, they had proof. Uncle Chidi had been stealing money for 2 years. He had created fake companies, inflated invoices, and stolen over 30 million naira. The confrontation happened on a Sunday evening. Uncle Chidi came for dinner as usual, bringing chocolates for the children and flowers for Mrs. Okafor. He sat at the table, smiled, and asked about everyone's week. "Brother," Mr. Emeka said calmly, "I need to ask you about the Abuja project." Uncle Chidi's smile flickered. "What about it?" Everything is going well. Is it? Because I have bank statements that show 30 million naira missing from the project account. The room went silent. Mrs. Okafor stopped eating. The children stared at their father. Uncle Chidi's face turned pale. Emeka, what are you talking about? Mr. Emeka placed a folder on the table. I'm talking about the fake companies you created, the inflated invoices, the money you have been stealing from me for 2 years. Uncle Chidi looked around the table desperately. Who told you this? Who has been lying to you? Nobody lied to me, Chidi. I have the evidence. Uncle Chidi stood up suddenly, his chair falling backward. You are going to believe lies over your own brother, over family? I am going to believe bank statements and documents, Mr. Emeka said. You have until tomorrow morning to return my money, or I will call the police. Uncle Chidi looked at me standing in the corner. His eyes were full of hate. It was the house girl, wasn't it? She has been going through your private papers, filling your head with nonsense. Grace saved my business, Mr. Emeka said firmly. She showed me what my own brother was doing to me. Uncle Chidi stormed out of the house that night. He never came back. The next morning, Mr. Emeka called me to his office. I thought he was going to fire me. Instead, he handed me an envelope. Grace, open it. Inside was a check for 2 million naira. I stared at the numbers, unable to believe what I was seeing. Sir, this is too much. I cannot accept this. You saved my business, Grace. Without you, I would have lost everything. This is not a gift. This is what you earned. I started crying. Not just because of the money, but because someone had finally seen my worth. Someone had finally treated me like I mattered. Sir, I want to use this money to go to university. Mr. Emeka smiled. I have a better idea. How would you like to work for me as my assistant accountant? You can go to university at night and work during the day. I will pay for your school fees. I couldn't speak. I just nodded and cried. Within 6 months, everything changed. I moved from the servants' quarters to a proper apartment that Mr. Emeka rented for me. I enrolled in evening classes at the University of Lagos, studying accounting and business management. During the day, I worked in Mr. Emeka's office, learning about hotel management, financial planning, and business operations. I had a natural talent for numbers and a sharp eye for details that others missed. Mrs. Okafor treated me differently now. She would ask for my opinion on household expenses and listen to my suggestions. Even Adana, who had once treated me like a servant, began to respect me. Grace, she said one day, I'm sorry for how I treated you before. I didn't know you were so smart. David, who had always been kind, became my study partner. He would help me with English literature while I helped him with mathematics. The family that had once employed me as a housegirl now included me in their conversations, asked for my advice, and treated me like a valued member of their team. 2 years into my new role, Mr. Emeka came to me with an opportunity that would change my life forever. Grace, I want to open a new hotel in Port Harcourt. I need someone I trust to manage the project, someone who understands numbers and can spot problems before they become disasters. You want me to manage a hotel project? I want you to be my partner. You will own 30% of the new hotel. I will provide the capital. You will provide the management and oversight. I was 22 years old, still a university student, and someone was offering me a chance to become a business owner. Sir, I don't know anything about running a hotel. You know about honesty, hard work, and attention to detail. That's more valuable than experience. I will teach you everything else. The Port Harcourt project was massive. A 150-room luxury hotel with a conference center, restaurant, and spa. The total cost was 80 million naira. I threw myself into the project with everything I had. I studied hotel management books, visited other hotels to learn their operations, and worked 12-hour days to ensure everything was perfect. I caught 3 different contractors trying to overcharge us. I found a supplier who was delivering substandard materials. I discovered that our initial interior designer was planning to use cheap furniture while charging us for expensive pieces. Each time I caught someone trying to cheat us, Mr. Emeka would shake his head and smile. Grace, you have saved us millions of naira. Uncle Chidi taught me that family can betray you, but you have shown me that loyalty comes from character, not blood. The hotel opened in December 2019. It was the most beautiful building I had ever seen. The lobby had marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and artwork from famous Nigerian artists. The rooms were elegant and comfortable. The restaurant served the best food in Port Harcourt. On opening night, I stood in the lobby wearing a beautiful dress that Mrs. Okafor had bought for me. Important people from all over Nigeria were there. Government officials, business leaders, celebrities. Mr. Emeka stood at the microphone to give his speech. 3 years ago, my housegirl saved my business by showing me that someone I trusted was stealing from me. Tonight, that same young woman is my business partner and co-owner of this hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Grace Nwosu, the managing director of Okafor Nwosu Hotels. The applause was thunderous. I walked to the microphone with tears in my eyes. 3 years ago, I was a 19-year-old girl from a small village who just wanted to earn money for university. Mr. Emeka Okafor saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. He taught me that your background doesn't determine your future. Your character does. The hotel was fully booked within 2 months. Business travelers loved our conference facilities. Tourists loved our restaurant and spa. We were making more money than we had projected. By the end of our first year, my 30% share of the profits was worth 15 million naira. I was 23 years old and I was a millionaire. I bought a house for my parents in the village. I paid for my younger siblings to attend private schools. I established a scholarship fund for poor students who wanted to study accounting. But the money wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that I had discovered my own worth. Success brought its own problems. Uncle Chidi, who had disappeared after stealing from Mr. Emeka, returned with a lawyer. He claimed that as Mr. Emeka's brother, he had a right to ownership in the family business. He filed a lawsuit claiming that I had manipulated Mr. Emeka and stolen his rightful inheritance. He told newspapers that I was a gold digger who had seduced my way from house girl to business partner. The stories were painful to read. Some people believed him. They said things like, how can a house girl become a millionaire so quickly? And she must have used juju to bewitch the family. Mr. Emeka was furious. Grace, ignore these lies. Everyone who knows you knows your character. But the attacks hurt. I had worked so hard to build my reputation, and now people were questioning everything I had achieved. The court case lasted 8 months. Uncle Chidi's lawyer argued that the business belonged to the Okafor family and that I had no right to own shares in it. Our lawyer presented evidence of all the money I had saved the company, all the problems I had solved, and all the work I had done to make the hotel successful. The judge listened to testimony from employees, suppliers, and customers. Everyone spoke about my integrity, my hard work, and my business skills. When the judge announced his decision, I was holding Mrs. Okafor's hand. This court finds that Miss Grace Nwosu earned her position through merit, hard work, and exceptional service. Her ownership stake in the hotel is legitimate and legal. The plaintiff's case is dismissed. Uncle Chidi's face was full of rage as he left the courtroom. "This is not over," he shouted. But it was over. Justice had been served. With the legal battles behind us, we focused on growing the business. We opened a second hotel in Abuja, then a third in Kano. Each time I managed the projects and ensured quality control. By 2023, Okafor Nwosu Hotels had 5 locations across Nigeria. I was 26 years old and worth over 200 million naira. I had graduated from university with first-class honors in accounting. I had been featured in business magazines as one of Nigeria's youngest successful entrepreneurs. But more importantly, I had proven that where you come from doesn't determine where you can go. Last month, I returned to my village for the first time in 5 years. I drove through the same dusty streets where I had played as a child, past the same small houses where my friends still lived. The village chief organized a special ceremony to honor me. The entire community gathered in the town square where I had once sold water to travelers. Children who had never seen a millionaire before stared at me with wide eyes. Their parents whispered stories about the girl who had left with nothing and returned with everything. I spoke to the young people who were still dreaming of leaving the village to find opportunities in the city. "I'm not special," I told them. "I'm not more intelligent than you. I am not luckier than you. The only difference is that I never gave up, even when people treated me like I was nothing." I announced the establishment of the Grace Nwosu Foundation, which would provide scholarships and business training for young people from rural communities. An old woman approached me after the ceremony. She was bent with age, her hands rough from years of farm work. "My daughter," she said, "you have shown us that our children can fly even when they are born without wings." As I write this story, I am sitting in my office on the 15th floor of a building in Victoria Island. Through my window, I can see the Lagos skyline, the same city where I once worked as a house girl. People often ask me what the secret to success is. They want to know if there is a formula, a shortcut, a special trick. The truth is simple. Success comes from seeing opportunities that others miss, working harder than others are willing to work, and never accepting that your current situation is your final destination. When I was a house girl, I could have chosen to see only the inequality, the unfairness, the way people looked down on me. Instead, I chose to see the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prove my worth. When I found evidence of Uncle Chitty's theft, I could have stayed silent to avoid trouble. Instead, I chose to speak up because it was the right thing to do. When Mr. Emeka offered me a partnership, I could have been afraid to take the risk. Instead, I chose to believe in myself and work harder than I had ever worked before. Today, our hotel chain employs over 2,000 people. Many of them are young people from villages like mine who needed a chance to prove themselves. I make sure that every employee, from the cleaners to the managers, is treated with respect and dignity. I remember what it felt like to be invisible, and I never want anyone in my organization to feel that way. Mr. Emeka and I are planning to expand into other African countries. We want to show the world that African businesses can compete with anyone, anywhere. Mrs. Okafor often tells people that I am like a daughter to her. David is now studying business in London and will join our company when he graduates. Adana is in her final year of secondary school and wants to study hotel management. The family that once employed me as a house girl now considers me family. Not because of my money, but because of the bond we built through mutual respect and shared success. If you are reading this story and you are struggling, if you are working in a job that doesn't value you, if people treat you like you don't matter, remember this. Your current situation is not your final destination. Every billionaire was once broke. Every successful person was once struggling. Every respected leader was once ignored. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not luck, connections, or special privileges. The difference is the refusal to give up, the courage to speak up when you see something wrong, and the determination to keep learning and growing no matter what. I went from house girl to millionaire not because I was special, but because I refused to accept that being a house girl was all I could ever be. Your background is not your destiny. Your character is. 3 years ago, I was serving rice at the Okafor family dinner table. Tonight, I am hosting a business dinner for investors from 3 different countries. The girl who once cleaned other people's houses now owns properties worth hundreds of millions of naira. The young woman who was once invisible is now featured on magazine covers and invited to speak at business conferences. But success is not just about money and recognition. Success is about becoming the person you were meant to be, regardless of where you started. I am Grace Nwosu. I was once a house girl. Today, I am a millionaire businesswoman. Tomorrow, I will be whatever I choose to become. And so can you. The only question is, what will you choose? If you love this story, please drop a comment. Let us know where you are watching from. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.